A very good morning to all of you. We have already understood the poem To His Choir Mistress by Andrew Marvell. We read and we got the explanation of the poem in the previous lectures. Now, in this lecture, we shall try to talk something about the structure and form of the poem, the literary devices used. We shall also focus on the themes of the poem. So we understood that this poem by Andrew Morwell, which is titled as To His Choir Mistress, is a beautiful love poem in which we see a gentleman, a poetic speaker, wooing his mistress to make love with him. And the poet, give the detailed account of the efforts of a man towards insisting on his lover's affection. And we understood that this unnamed lady, the choir mistress, isn't ready to accept his love, and she is not responding him positively. Therefore, he tries to convince her that time is not enough. Had they got time, he could have spent entire centuries admiring her beauty and her innocence. Really just spent, they should have been tea here. So human life is short and it does not have enough time. That's what he says. Now let's try to understand the structure of a poem. In my last lecture, I explained that this poem is written in iambic tetrameter. So usually the poets prefer using pentameter, the group of five iambic feet, but here he uses four iambic feet. So that is also we understood, in the previous lecture. That is also understood. So we are familiar with iambic meter. In iambic meter, there is a combination of unstressed syllable which is followed by a stressed syllable. So you are very much familiar with this now. We also understand that this poem is just like a thesis. I mentioned in the last lecture, it's a kind of revision for you people. Means in which he first of all talks about the problem. He focuses on the problem. The beloved is not ready to accept his love. The confusion is there in the mind. So he talks about that confusion, the predicament. Predicament means a confused state of mind. And then the poem ends with the solution. He talks about death, he talks about the flying time and all, and he tries to persuade her. So we also understood that the poem is written in a close couplet form. I explained that too. It is written in a close couplet. Couplet means the combination of two rhymed lines. In Hindi, it is called doha. So two lines rhyme with each other. So we saw that almost all the lines rhyme with each other. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is very simple. The lines of the poem contain the AABB rhyme scheme. Okay, that we discussed in the previous lecture. In this lecture, we shall be talking about the literary devices used in this poem. Now, what are the literary devices? Let's have a discussion on it. There are different, actually, while explaining the poem itself, I have talked about these literary devices or uh, figurative devices. So we see that the poet Andrew Marvell uses different literary devices that make the poetic persona's argument more appealing and emotionally forceful. So he compares what we call coyness to crime. So that itself is a metaphor. There is an implicit comparison between coyness and crime. Your coyness wouldn't have been a crime. He says it is a metaphor. Because here the poet thinks that the coyness means I have already told you, the shyness of the lady might kill the amorous. Amorous means the desire, the strong sexual desire, the amorous spirit of his persona, the poetic persona. So that is an example of metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison between two dissimilar things. It is, however, implicit, means we have to understand that comparison. There is no use of as or like. Then in the line, long love's day, there is an alliteration. You can see that. Long loves. So la is repeated. The repetition of the initial sound, consonant specially, as I mentioned, is an alliteration. At the same time, this is an example of a personification as well, because love is an abstract concept, and here he attributes human qualities to love. Long love's day. Okay, he describes love as long, and so love's day. So here it is personified. So he has personified love. He uses several hyperboles as well. We have already seen that. He uses exaggeration. Messi says, I would have spent thousands of years and all, 30,000, one era. So, all these are the examples of hyperbole. For example, we can see in the line the use of hyperbole till the conversion of the Jews. He uses allusions as well. Allusions are the passing references to the things which are from what we call the religious scriptures, mythologies, etc. So, love you 10 years before the flood and till the conversion of the Jews. So, here flood refers to the biblical mention of Noah's flood. We have already discussed it. Okay, so there is a mention of the flood, and Noah talks about this particular flood, which will destroy the world. Then the second line, till the conversion of the Jews, I already explained that this contains the biblical allusion to the conversion of the Jews. It is impossible for the Jews to convert to Christianity. So he talks about all impossible things in hyperbolic manner. Further, he calls his love as vegetable love. It is a metaphor. Rather, it is a metaphysical concept. I already told you that metaphysical concept is a kind of literary device used by the metaphysical poets like John Donne, Andrew Marvell, George Herbert, etc. It is an extended metaphor or simile. Yes, they keep on using such kind of concept. The far-fetched ideas are brought to describe the things, and we can't even imagine that such kind of comparison is possible. So that's what a metaphysical concept is. So we see the use of metaphysical concept in this particular line, in this particular phrase, vegetable love. So as I mentioned earlier, it is an extended metaphor. Excuse me. So it's a far-stretched comparison between spiritual aspect of a person and a physical thing in the world. The vegetable is the thing that we find in the world, and then we see love and abstracting. Both are being compared. So in many of the metaphysical poets, we come across poetry. We come across such kind of comparison. Then there is a phrase, time's winged chariot. In this particular line, again the poet uses personification. Okay, time has wings and it is flying. So here human qualities are attributed to time. This is again not only an example of personification, there is an allusion and even metaphor. Okay, allusion to mythological aspects, we can say, a passing reference. Okay, so in the last line of the poem, he personified the sun and says, "We'll make him run." Again, that is an example of personification. Let's have a brief discussion on the themes, the central ideas of the poem. There are several themes in this poem. The first theme that we need to understand is, as I mentioned earlier, is carpe diem theme. Carpe diem is a Latin phrase which means seize the day, seize the time, capture the time, don't make it run. So Andrew Marvell uses this theme in many of his poems. Rather, he loved this theme, and he wrote many of his poems based on it. So in this poem, he says that waiting for the right moment to make love is nothing but the wasting of time. Okay, and the poetic persona, the speaker in the poem, and his beloved should indulge in physical love before their bodies start to become old. Start become old. Start to become old. I'm sorry. So here, through this theme, he's trying to express the main idea of the poem that enjoying the moment by forgetting about the future is the right thing because there is nothing in the future. Actually, I am not in favor of this particular opinion, but I'm talking about the poet's opinion or the whatever idea is expressed in this poem. Rather, I explained in the previous lecture that what you do in present matters a lot because that gives shape to your future. That shapes your future. So present is really important. What we say, kal kare so aaj kal. Kabira also says so. Okay, aaj kare so abhi kar. That is what he's trying to say by giving different kind of example. So whatever you do today now is important. Your plans are not important. Yes, of course, the execution of plan takes place through your efforts in the present. So don't simply just keep on planning the things. You should rather execute the things in the present. That's what he's trying to say through this particular carpe diem theme. So the speaker, the gentleman in the poem, implores his lady love to see the moment and make love as they have never done before. So that is the first theme, the carpe diem theme. Another important theme of the poem is time. So here we see that the poet portrays time as an antagonist. Antagonist means a villain, something who is opposing you, something who resists you. Okay, time is a kind of villain here, protagonist and antagonist. You must have got introduced to these terms in your drama paper. While studying the elements of drama, you must have understood characters, and within characters, you must have got introduced to the terms like protagonist and antagonist. Protagonist is the central character of the play or a story, whereas antagonist is the opposite character. Generally, we pursue them as villains. In Hindi movies or Marathi movies, you come across villains, they're antagonists. And here, time is a kind of antagonist between the lover and the beloved. If there is no time, time runs away. It is always there to wash their youthful vigor away. Okay? Their youth will be stolen by time. Time never waits for the lovers, it flows away in its way. So, time is very important. Once the time has gone, nothing remains. So that is what we need to understand this particular idea through this poem. Your efforts, we should not understand only the literal meaning of the poem, we should understand the figurative, the metaphorical meaning of the poem. There is a message to all of us. So lovers means those who are what you call in love of doing something. Those who have got some kind of here what we call motivation or aspiration. So people doing this means those who have some aspiration should know, should understand that time is important. Lovers should not wait for the future as time never waits for them. So this particular argument in the poem, tells, means through this argument, the poetic persona tells his beloved to make love as soon as they can. I'm again and again telling you here, what you do in the present is important. That is the message. Okay, so the poet utilizes the theme of time and its change. changing nature, transience, in favor of the gentleman. Okay. We don't know exactly whether he succeeds or not because we understand only the speaker's opinion. The beloved's argument is not given here, but his argument is a bit appealing. We can understand that.